Greetings my friends and welcome to a brand new nations guide, and today we're going to be looking at Dagestan. Now as you can see straight from the off, it is a single region nation, so immediately you're going to be looking at some very difficult times to come, but we'll examine that later on in the guide. But let's have a quick look at sort of where you start off from and where your main allies are going to be coming from, your enemies are going to be coming from, your strategic and tactical sort of views and outputs, as it were, and also where you're going to be getting most of your money coming from. We'll be looking at research and development. We're looking at all those type of things, giving it as round a look as possible at Dagestan. It is an incredibly difficult campaign. It really, really is. So we're going to have a real good look at this, see what you can do. If any of you have played Dagestan at all, my friends, please let me know how you got on. As always, bringing that in, that knowledge, that sort of intelligence into and feeding it into the sort of the wider community here. So those who maybe would face the challenge or like to face the challenge of Dagestan has a good starting point from those of you commanders that really have tackled this already. But let's have a quick look where you start. So as you can see here, start in Tarki here, Chechnya, Dagestan. It is a solitary existence here in terms of your region and your power. But as you can see here, you are able straight away here to recruit sort of Western forces, so Western type forces here straight away. So it isn't sort of, you're not, I know you're sort of within that sort of Middle Eastern region, sort of in the Urals. It's sort of almost that crossover between the two. You're sort of almost in the middle of the two here. You are able to sort of recruit Western style units here, so it is already pretty much very much a positive, that is. As you can see, your construction here. So in the military governor's encampment you get militia, provincial cavalry and regiment of horse as well. You can get 12 pounders as you've got cannons to shot, and indeed dragoons when you get carbines. And already you can see there's an upgrade here, possible upgrade here, 3,000 coin here, gold. But it really does. Look at line infantry. I don't know why that's blacked out, my friends. You can get line infantry. You can get light infantry doctrine, and also the 3-pounders here as well. You can't get any cannon at the moment, which is a bit unusual. But that's that. Being a one-region nation, as it were, I'm not surprised you can't really get cannon at the moment. But you can get line infantry here once you upgrade to the military governor's barrack, which really is going to be absolutely crucial, particularly later on down the line. It really is going to be. Recruitment, as we've just been through here, of course. Settlement fortifications are not really going to be something you can afford at the moment. It's 12,000. That is going to be well out of your reach at the moment. But infrastructure, again, you don't even have basic roads yet. So that, again, that's going to be crucial. Basic roads, as you can already see here. You've got roads leading into Russia. You've also got roads leading in further afield into here, into Persian territory. I'm not sure about Georgia. I don't believe so. Across the sort of the Ural mountains, I don't believe there is. No, there's not. So you haven't quite established that yet. There are roads, as you can see, leading from Georgia into Azerbaijan, which is Persian territory. So I'm assuming there is possibly a route you could probably extend as your sort of infrastructure sort of upgrades and begins to expand. There's probably going to be a route in and out of Georgia, possibly through Persia, or you'll establish a direct link. So as you can see, you've got your army, you've got an Islamic swordsman. That's all you've got in the entirety. You don't start out with anything else, and that, my friends, is pretty telling. You can imagine how tough this campaign will be, because you just start out with one unit, and it's a melee unit, a sword unit. It'll be incredibly difficult, so it really is absolutely vital that you do get some of these units. But again, you can only recruit one unit at a time. So again, as I was saying, it is incredibly difficult. But you should have it. Yes, you can. So recruitment capacity, if you upgrade to the military governor's barracks, is going to be 2. So you're going to be able to recruit 2 units at a time. But even then, it's going to be a very, very slow process. How long does it take? It takes 5 turns to get the military governor's barracks. And you can only pray and hope that Russia or Georgia doesn't move against you in that time. And as you can see, you've got the farmland here in Grozny. And that's going to be not even a peasant farm yet. It'll provide 100 additional to regional wealth and plus 2 to population growth, which is not too bad. But if we look at Tarki here, the capital, you've only got the income of 26 gold 26 gold per turn. Tax rate is 36%. Islam is the largest religious influence here. Within the region, you've got Orthodox and animism as well. But look at that, -8 for the town, for the growth, and -8 for the the development growth as well, which is incredibly bad. It is not very good at all. So let's look at our diplomatic relations here. Now, as you can see, everybody here is effectively either indifferent or unfriendly with you. You've got the Ottoman Empire, which is hostile, but not at war with you. Now, as you can see here straight away, Russia is unfriendly, but they are open to trade. So if you could get trade with Russia and potentially turn this around here, that might just give you the boost you need, and also the time you need to actually to build up your army and to be able to defend yourself, at least to some degree. So trade is going to play a very important, pivotal role within this campaign. It really is. So look at the minor nations, and again the same thing. You've got, they're unfriendly with you as well, but you've got trade with them. Be very, very careful what you're doing here, because if Persia are unfriendly and they decide they want a piece of you, or take some fight too, they will do it, my friends, believe me. As you can see, most are indifferent, some just don't really care. Georgia is friendly and you're already trading with them. So that must mean you're already trading with Georgia, and they're friendly as well, so that's good. That's a potential ally there in the offing there. As you can see, we're at war with the war with Barbary states, but we are trade partners with Georgia. That's excellent. And also the Crimean Khanate is also friendly. So you're getting that sort of, as you can see, there's Dagestan, there's Georgia, Crimean Khanate here. So these independent single nations are friendly with each other. There's almost this triumvirate here, where these singular nations are sort of almost working and trying to cooperate together to stay alive, because you've got the great behemoth here of Moscow and Russia, but also of Istanbul and the Ottoman Empire right on both your shoulders here. The only thing blocking you from Crimea is the Don here. If that was to fall, you would be able to, in direct contact with the Crimea. Now, unfortunately, there's nothing here that's going to give you a port either. That's going to be a little bit of a problem there. So again, as I said, your options are incredibly limited. They really are. However, if you potentially could make the use of what's going on here with Georgia, maybe even growing and increasing this sort of friendliness you have here, maybe turning it into an alliance where you can maybe help each other, watch each other's backs, as it were. That's a potential there. Now, with Crimea, you could get an alliance with them, but would they be able to help you? I'm not sure. Now, Georgia does have a school here, but if we do look around here to the school, they've got nothing. You haven't got a single option to upgrade your research and technology at all. There's not even the option to even build even this village here in Derbent is not going to be available for many, many years. So it looks like it's going to have to be that you're going to either have to take a region and convert one of the sort of the buildings within the region to a school, or you're going to have to steal the technology or buy it. Now, when I say steal technology, if you look here, one of your agents here is an Eastern scholar. Now, scholars can move into other nations' schools and effectively steal the technology. Now, that might be one possible thing you could do, particularly for the Russians. Now, Russia, of course, is the largest, nearest neighbour to yourselves, so the chances are they're going to have quite an extensive research and development capability. Perhaps moving to Moscow. Now, where would there be? There it is there. In Novgorod. That would be a school there you could potentially aim for and put your scholar in there and move in and out of there as their sort of technology upgrades, and you might be able to steal that technology from them and then use it to your own ends. Now, that really would be possibly the way that I would do it. In terms of what I would do, I would send my scholar immediately up to Novgorod, and I don't believe there's anywhere closer that would be able to do that. I don't believe so. Maybe Kiev. I don't believe Kiev is. Moscow is going to be the place where you're going to find that availability of schools. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at Novgorod here within the Moscow region to be able to aim for, and that's what I would aim for. Or there's of course the Ottoman Empire, which is even closer, but again, I don't believe the research and development of the Ottoman Empire would be as extensive or as quick as the Russians. I do find sometimes the Ottoman Empire research development does lag behind quite extensively behind the other nations. So for me it would be heading straight for Novgorod here within the Moscow region and establishing a sort of a scholar who is going there under the guise of maybe learning, but in fact is there to steal Moscow's state secrets, is what we're trying to do there. But again, as you can move down here to plug bayonets, as you can see as you move down, but of course you wouldn't be, you'd have to convert the capital then from a governor's barracks to these, as you can see here, barracks here would then be able to give you, look at what it would give you, African native troops, colonial light infantry, buccaneers, which is absolutely fantastic. Look at that, mountain troops, colonial line infantry, company line infantry, military academy would give you, look at that. Wow. Grenzers, which is I believe light infantry. Absolutely fantastic there, look at that. Engineers, sepoys, expatriate, the blunderbuss, Highlander warband. You've got lots and lots of options here. Grenadiers, Grenadier Guards. What else would you be able to get here? Army Visirit. Oh, look at that, Scottish Line Infantry. And then you start getting the echelons in as they get experience as they come out of the look at that, Household Cavalry, Cuirassiers. Oh my goodness me, huge amount of troops. And last but not least, Army Staff College. Going to give you guards. So effectively you're going to get the full complement of Western troops here. All of the finest, even Republican Guard as well. And again the same here for the engineering school at its highest capacity, 32 pounders as well. So that really is a real push for you to really get that research up and running, and eventually you might be able to move into regions where you have to take that research for yourself, including the Ottoman Empire, which of course is not very friendly with you, is hostile towards you. So there's a chance you might be able to perhaps get an alliance with Georgia and move through Georgian territory, and or take Tbilisi for yourself, and then use that as a sort of base of operations. You have a school in Sumakale here, so maybe take Georgia, even though you're friendly with them, and have a school, and then you'd have complete access here to sort of the rear of the Ottoman Empire. This will not be very well guarded, and you'd have access to craft workshops and iron mines, additional farms. You'd even be in on the Persians as well, quite aggressively there, so that would be another option. Now moving against Russia would be incredibly difficult, unless of course they're leaving these sort of exposed rear areas not very well covered. Now it depends on what wars they are engaged in. If they are engaged with a war with Sweden, which potentially Russia could be, the war with Ottomans and the Crimean Khanate for the moment. So there's a chance that if they go to war with Sweden, especially for St. Petersburg, or if they get dragged into a war with and against the Ottoman Empire, they might want to try and go through Tbilisi to get it, but that might leave them exposed, or they might go through Kiev into Moldavia and through that way there. So that's another potential option. If they are distracted elsewhere, the Russians, you could probably move in and try and take that territory from them. Particularly these sort of rear areas here where they're going to find it hard to hold on to, especially with your ability to sort of move through the territory at will here. And the Russians, although they're a massive empire, they're going to find it hard to police these areas here. So again, that's in your favour. And to be honest with you, the majority of your campaign in terms of conquering other regions and other nations is going to be quite local. It's going to be very localized until you're able to build up and expand maybe to 3 or 4 regions, and then you're going to be able to start looking further afield. So when I say that, I mean you've got within already here, you've got Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan as your sort of already your 3 potential targets. And again, these would give you a solid base, a solid foundation from which to work from. Again, you would have a craft workshop. You'd have peasant farms which you've upgraded. You've got another village here, Ganja, which would be moving and developing quite quickly. You've got another one here, Rasht. Another farm here, Zanjan. So again, you've got quite a lot of options here. Of course, that would put you in direct contact with Esfahan, which is the capital of Persia. But again, Persia would probably be engaged in some kind of conflict eventually with the Mughal Empire, unless, of course, they do form a solid alliance, which sometimes they do form a very solid alliance, and even with the Ottoman Empire. So you might be fighting against allies, which is going to, of course, put you on the back foot. But again, if you strike quickly and very, look at the loss they're taking there. 554. It's 1659, but my goodness me, that's dropping quite quick there. But again, these regions here would probably be your main target, your main focal point for in terms of taking regions. Now, let's have a look at the overall here. As you can see, you start with 7,500 is not too bad, but again, if you've got to invest 3,000 immediately into the military governor's barracks to get that up and running and also get the additional recruitment slot, and you're only able to recruit these, you're going to be relying on some. You could probably rely on cavalry to do the majority of your work for you to start with, until you're able to establish or at least steal the technology you upgrade. That's going to be really vital there. But again, even if you steal that technology, you're going to have to destroy some of these buildings and push them into something else, into the barracks first. So again, looking to expand is going to be probably vital here. They've got some Tatars. A lot of cavalry-based units there. Now let's have a look at our government here. As you can see, destitute. Look at that. We've got 26 coming in from tax. 26 gold from tax. And look, 1 star, minus 20 diplomatic relations, plus minus 2 to prestige, minus 20 diplomatic relations. You're already on the back foot in terms of how people view you because of your premier. Taraj the First, not good, my friends, not good at all. Plus 26, trade income is nearly 1,000, which is not too bad. Then other is 1650, so you've got 2571 coming in. Your army upkeep is only 125 because, of course, you've only got one regiment of troops. Trade partners of Georgia and Persia, so 2446 is not bad at all. That could push to 10,000 quite quickly. So again, if you wanted to really be quite savvy with your money, you could actually get quite a little bit of a bank build up here as your forces start to build up here, as long as you play quite the diplomatic game. Policies, as you can see, our tax levels are sort of medium at the moment, but only 13 income between the nobility and lower classes, which is just insane. It really is. But again, we want growth, so lowering the tax rates for both might encourage growth, but not quite yet, only -4. So effectively, you'd have to have no tax at all, and even then the growth is -2. That's really tough. That is so tough. Let's go look at the ministers. Now look at the ministers here. The ministers here. Look at that treasury minister. He is absolutely fantastic. Bon voyant, stallholder, harsh reputation, and status quo. He is absolutely fantastic as a treasury minister. Really is one of the finest. Look at that. What's that? 2 4. That's 6 stars. He's absolutely incredible. +3 to bonus, global tax income, +6 to growth, and +6 to town wealth. Incredible. Justice, +1 to repression, -3 to town cost of town watch, +1 to maximum repression. Again, an excellent justice minister. Look at the army minister. -4 recruitment cost, +4 to the technology research rate, -4 to upkeep costs. Absolutely fantastic. And look at the navy. Even though we don't have, or potentially will never have, a navy at the moment for a long time. Incredible. This gentleman here is not good. His diplomatic relations is not offsetting the monarch here. However, as you can see, you've already got a very good number of candidates. But look at this one, Shaya bin Mahmud. Absolutely fantastic. +1 to management, +1 to management, +1 happiness lower classes. this gentleman, I think if you moved into here, because remember, because you are an absolute monarchy, you can move ministers out as you see fit. But if you move this gentleman into here, look at that, +8 to diplomatic relations already. What a wonder. Industrial Revolutionary, gain treasury management. He'd be pretty good for the treasury, this gentleman here. Ardalan Dagestan. Then you've got Fahid Tolu. Pious and very good for your navy. Again, this gentleman here, good for the navy. +1 stallholder as well, so he'd be excellent for the treasury and jughead as well. So he's a very good. Cyrus bin Siavaxish. Wow, some of these names, I do apologise for saying if I'm saying them wrong. And we've got this one, agrarian here. Not the best, but he'd probably be good in a different, maybe in justice, but not very good in the treasury. Maybe a good head here, but again, only 37 as well. Hushang Rafi Dukst. But look at that. That's your cabinet really is fantastic. That's a phenomenal cabinet to start with. It really is. That's something that you don't see very often, is a cabinet of that caliber. Especially if you put this gentleman in here. He's offsetting the monarch's horrific diplomatic relations by +8, nearly 10. He's nearly cutting it in half, which is some going there. It really is. Trade, as you can see, with Persia and with Georgia, overland as well. So I can't see where we're getting it overland here with Georgia. It must be going around somewhere, probably around by here, this route. But again, it's coming in 508, 387, 895, which is not too bad at all. So we've got that coming in as well. And I wonder what that would do to your diplomatic relations. Still -65, but still, it might help some a little bit. Trying to get trade with Russia would really potentially be the real killer blow in terms of getting your trade absolutely rampant. And of course, having infrastructure, turning on basic roads is going to be key, and also constructing this military governor's barracks. I know it's going to take 5 turns, but still, you're going to need some troops. You'll probably need them very quickly. And again, you're just going to have to keep an eye on what your neighbours are doing, particularly Russia, the Ottomans and the Persians. None of them are very friendly towards you at all. And then, of course, depending on which route you take, you can either go sort of north, or you can move south, or you can sort of move westward. It's completely up to you, my friends, depending on how these nations are affected by other outside forces. In other words, how the wars with maybe the Western powers, or internal revolutions affect them. And then you can maybe take advantage of what is happening with that. But again, my friends, this has been just a brief overview of Dagestan, a brief overview of a single nation campaign. But again, as you can see, you're very limited in what you can do until you sort of break free of the shackles of what the sort of that single region enables you to do from the start. Once you've broken from the shackles there, once you start to expand, once you start able to really start recruiting some very good units, and also getting your not only your trade but your internal economy really flowing with infrastructure upgrades, and also getting farms and workshops, etc., then you can really start to be a powerhouse. But to get to that point is going to be incredibly difficult. This will be one of the most difficult campaigns you'll probably face. It really will, because not only of your location, because you're literally at the very edge of the world in terms of where your location is, but also the nations around you are already very powerful compared to how you are. So it's going to take a huge amount of effort, and also a lot of guile, a lot of cunning, a lot of strategic planning is going to have to be taken place. It really is. But for those of you, my friends, who have perhaps already done this campaign and succeeded, flourished within this campaign, please let me know. Maybe you attempted this campaign, it didn't go very well. Again, please let me know how it went, my friends. But I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview of Dagestan, this nation's guide. Again, thank you for all of your wonderful support, my friends. It's been absolutely fantastic. It really, really has. As always, please keep your comments coming down below. They're always appreciated, and I enjoy reading every single one of them. But again, my friends, whatever you're doing, please be safe. But until next time, bye for now.